Okay, I study leadership my whole life, and I think everybody should be studying leadership. Why? Because we must know our limitations, as Clint Eastwood would say. Everybody's different, and there's probably the best thing you can do in life is to know your how you interact with other people. And not everybody wants to be a leader. Not everybody should be a leader. And leaders can make people very angry. Okay, and the reason is quite simple. They remind you of your father and your mother. Okay, and then you have school teachers that are leaders. So the first thing we do is we have three different areas where we meet people that are pretty much trying hard to influence us. Okay, and you got to be real careful with people that try to influence you because uh, you want to have good influences around you. Like I was talking with this girl last couple of years ago that I was dating, and we both agreed that if the teachers were not good role models, we were going to if we had children, we were going to do it. And if I had a children, it'd be very hard for me to put them in public school anymore because the tolerance of these, I guess they call it DEI or something. I want men that act like men and women that act like women, and that they appreciate the differences in genders. But so to me, you don't allow your children to hang around with deviant behaviors. Okay, that means that you want them to be in the wide majority of people. Okay, but you don't want them to be making heroes of the wrong people. Okay, and this is a problem. You can almost ask your friends who their heroes are, and then you kind of get to know who they are. Okay, but my name is Andy Lee Graham, and I'm the hero of my own life. Okay, and I've been in 114 countries, and I've done this now for 26 plus years. I'm presently in Colombia, but I'm going to talk about what a leader is. And this is very apropos right now because you can see in the United States they're trying to elect a new leader. And I have nothing to do with it because I no longer want to be an owner of the United States. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm going to collect my Social Security and I'm going to collect all the benefits. But as far as my opinion right now, it's a failed state. Okay, they are not teaching children how to be good citizens. I'm not sure which country is. Almost the whole world is doing this, going the wrong direction at the same time. But I'm a global citizen. I really want to make the world the best world. But how do you make the great world is you have leaders that understand leadership, okay? And very few leaders are actually, you can't really take a lawyer and make them into a leader. A lawyer is really a person that wants to have two people argue. A business guy is a guy that brings together people. Okay, an engineer probably would be the best type of leader on the planet. And when the United States first started, they had a lot of farmers and engineers and people like that. And right now you can see that somehow being a Harvard lawyer, which is a person that mediates two people that are arguing, very seldom are they actually people that are things. And then you have, like Joe Biden was I don't know, all he did in life was be a kind of a sociopath. Sociopaths can do really good, people with no conscience, because they'll tell you anything you want to hear. And that often is what people want in a leader. They don't want a leader that makes them angry. An activist like Obama, he taught school, I think, for a while, and really he basically brought together people by making them argue. And you can see that the race relationships after Obama were worse. I actually voted for Obama because I thought he would he would make race relations better. But he actually increased the problem because he empowered everybody to believe that they should be angry. And that's what an activist does. But a business guy is going to bring together the best team possible. And you can see that this is the leadership right now is happening inside the United States with Donald Trump. He's got Elon Musk, one of the richest guys on the planet. He's got Bobby Kennedy, which is, he literally deserted the, this is John F. Kennedy's family member. I'm not sure exactly the relationship, but this guy's Hogo. If you look at him, he's a great example of physical health. Elon Musk is a great example of social change. He wants to, he has electric cars. He's got a great big solar company. He's wanting to put people on Mars. This guy's whole business model is about creating. He was part of PayPal, which is one of the best things that ever happened to the planet because it allows people to collect money and do business anywhere on the planet. But there's three types. There's three types of alpha males, okay? And an alpha male is a person that takes over leadership, not because they want to, but because it's part of their nature. But you have three types of people on the planet. You have people that take care of other people, take care of the world, okay? An alpha male is somebody, a leader is somebody that when they walk into a situation, almost everybody's going to keep looking at them and referring to them for guidance, okay? And they feel an obligation to do it. I realized this with Buster Spade, Emery C. Spade, one of my farmer's boss. He was a lot of people were very angry in Orland, Indiana with Emery Spade, and I was working as one of his hired hands when I was, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old during the summer, and we baled hay commercially to take to the Brighton mushroom farm. And I couldn't understand why anybody'd be angry. I had an old lady just really complaining at me. Buster sent me down to take a bush hog and cut the grass in front of her farmhouse. And she was angry at us. And I go, he's paying me by the hour to make sure that your house looks beautiful. And he's expecting nothing back in return. And you're angry. It made no sense as a 16-year-old kid. How could somebody actually paying me to do it? I remember one time were, I came home from Indiana University, Bloomington to, it was a huge snowstorm, and we came back, and the whole day I went to visit Buster, and what did I do all day long? I shoveled snow out of old people's houses and made it so that it was safe for them to leave their house. This is also very needed. He actually paid $18,000, like in 1975. How much money would that be? To buy a snowblower that you could put on a tractor that would clean the city of Orland. That's how good a man he was. They asked him to be a Gideon Bible guy, and he didn't do it because he said, I just don't see that I should put myself in a position where I am. He had real trouble. He'd sit there and talk to us while we were baling hay, and he says, I don't understand, it's like nominating myself to say that I'm a good person. And he understood that this was a problem. But he did understand that his job was to take care of people, but not expect anything in return. And this is what a leader does. They take care of it. Donald Trump did this. There was in New York City, there was a skating rink, and they were having trouble because of corruption and all sorts of stuff to get the skating rink because often in the construction trades, you're dealing with some really unsavory people that basically always come up with a problem, therefore they can extend the thing. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, I saw this all the time. You had two ways to do a bid, but they did a bid where they actually had a way to get a bid so that they could add on expenses. And this is not the way to do it. You give a bid, then you have on a commercial job, it can be completely set. They actually have to have a bond to say that they're going to finish it on time, and if they don't finish it on time, that bond pays it. But they can fast track it, and so often the bids are done fast track so that they don't have to do this bond thing, or I'm not sure exactly how they work it. But Donald Trump was doing this skating rink inside New York City because it was his city. He said, let me take over and let it get it done. One of the greatest examples of leadership. He understood that there are certain people in life. We got some truck over here making a lot of noise because I'm not sure what they're doing. Noise has become the pollution of the planet. But a leader knows that their job is to do things that other people cannot get done. Then you have there's so three types of people. A leader that believes he or she should take care of the world. Okay? And they're not trying to be everybody's best friend. They know their position. If you see Kamala Harris, she's trying to act like I'm just a normal person, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course she's not a normal person. She's running for president. And that's sort of a lie. Okay? You shouldn't ever try to act like you're everybody's best friend when you're a leader. You're not. You're everybody's, you are in a way normal, but you're also accepting your abnormality. Okay, the second type of person is a person that takes care of themselves. And most people want to be this person. They want to be an independent person that takes care of themselves. And they actually get very angry when somebody tries to take care of them, which is good. You want, as a leader, you want a person to take care of themselves. So you got these people that take care of that just are self-autonomous and they take care of themselves. And then you got the third type, the one that want taken care of. And that's the victims, and that's the people that want free money from the government, that want all this different stuff. I remember when I first started getting Social Security money, I was laughing because I said, who in the right mind? I have never in my life had anybody give me free money. But I understand that I gave in to them and I paid into them, but I never counted on that money as being my money, okay? Because I thought, wow, I don't have to work for the rest of my life because somebody's giving me free money, okay? But the third part is the people that apply for food stamps and people apply for all these different programs are wanting somebody to take care of them. And you can see right now that Kamala is offering like money, down payment for houses, and she's appealing to this class of person that really don't want to take care of themselves. The people that want their college education paid for. This is the whole goal of a person that wants slaves. Okay, and that's not what you have in a business. In a business, you have a bunch of self-autonomous people that take care of themselves, and we work together, interdependent. Okay. But I'm going to get to that point because you got codependent, interdependent, and dependent people. Dependent people are not, those are factory workers often that basically just put in their time. And they put in their time and they get their money, but they are basically put into a slot. Okay? And that is a good way to have a nice life. Okay? And everybody deserves respect because you want them to choose and be happy with the position they choose. But what is a leader? Okay, so I'm going to say that again. You got three types of leaders. They take three types of people. People that take care of everybody. That's a leader. They're a global citizen. They believe that they should make the world a better place. Two, take care of themselves. They basically independent. They take care of themselves. And three, people that are taken care of. Okay, a leader though. What is a leader? A leader is quick to smile. Why are they quick to smile? Because they have to be, because everybody's looking at them, and if they're not quick to smile, but sometimes a leader sounds like your father or a preacher or a school teacher. You got to be real careful with those types. When they sound like, when a leader tries to be like your father, when they try to be like your mother, when they try to be like a school teacher or an authority. I often get upset with Jordan Peterson because he's always coming across like a father figure. And I said, can you break it down? See, you got PAC, Parent, Adult, Child Relation. One of the best books I ever read was I'm Okay, You're Okay, Transactional Analysis, because we all should be, really what we want is two children talking. That's the best way to be. okay, then we can have, sometimes I'm an adult, sometimes a child. But when somebody constantly goes into adult child relationships, that's kind of bad, okay? Because if you cannot talk adult with people or child to child, everybody needs a playground and somebody to play with. So when I have a girlfriend, I want two children talking, okay? And then once in a while we go into an adult. And I don't really like it when when I come into the leadership position in a love relationship and I'm talking to the person as a child. That's a horrible situation. But you can see that a lot of situations are like that. My mother often was the adult with my father, the child. But we all, when I'm with a woman, I let them tell me what to do 99% of the time. Well, 90% of the time. And then they usually get rid of me when I suddenly become an adult or a leader and I say no. I had a girlfriend that wanted a 3-person wave runner, and I just looked at her and I go, no, I'm not going to buy in Indiana a 3-person wave runner. She just wanted to have the biggest and baddest wave runner on Lake Wawasee in Indiana. But a leader's quick to smile. A leader's first to say hello. Why? Because they are the more confident person. So the more confident person has to say, they know how to say a formal greeting. If you do not teach your children how to formally meet somebody, you are negligent, in my opinion. If a school teacher doesn't know how to meet a person formally, okay, like here in Colombia, a formal meeting is you shake their hand, then you do 2 kisses with a woman. And the man, you look them in the eye and you shake their hand, and then you sort of passively back off. But a leader makes eye contact. They know how to do a formal greeting. They make eye contact first. And they maintain eye contact. They don't get whippy, wussy, whatever. But you can see that this is Donald Trump. He's a very hardcore leader. He's a natural leader. And leaders are not something that's just part of the alpha male situation. It's just the way people evolve. You can become a leader, though, by teaching yourself. I'm an introvert, but I realized how irrational that was to be an introvert. So I taught myself to get the joy of conversation and the energy that I can extract from being an extrovert. A leader moves towards a person, just a little bit, not a lot. The number 6 is you don't chase them. Whatever, you move towards to let them know that you're with them, but you don't go after them. Never go after them. Especially men should never follow up or go up to a woman unless she obviously is an alpha female. And then you have to do it because you have to show them sort of a dominant thing. There's a macho thing that happens between 2 equal people. Just part of the game, guys. 7, you're going to listen 80% of the time. So a leader doesn't spend their whole time trying to explain to people how the world works or whatever. I do this on videos because of it. But when I'm talking with people, I'm listening. I listen. I mean, one of the reasons why I didn't like to sell real estate is, golly, I spent 95% of my time listening and taking notes. And I didn't really consider that an equal conversation. A leader will say when they disagree. They don't just nod their head and agree to something that they disagree with. They really do a zero. You don't disagree. You either disagree or you stand silent and give no body language of agreement. There's a real good quote I read. Explaining is losing. What that means, Ronald Reagan said that. Explaining is losing. That means you're not saying it simple enough to be understood. Okay, so you got to say really simple, bites. And that's why everybody's looking for those one-word phrases that mean something. Which was quite humorous when a leader, which Joe Biden is a leader, but he made that off-the-wall, senile comment that all people that are, how do you say it? He called the people that were supporting Donald Trump garbage. And it was a soundbite in the wrong direction, and this is just a killer. And don't get me wrong, Donald Trump is the champion of accidentally saying the thing, but sometimes a leader says things that are in a biting way to let you know he is the alpha dog. Like he said, for the first day of being a president, he's going to be a dictator, meaning that he's going to take over the situation and change all these executive things that, see, they're trying to rule the world with the executive signature things now, and this is not the way to do it. But we need, number 10, you need to have short, concise statements. What are my biggest errors in my life? I have made a lot of errors, and I admit it. One thing I like about Fred, what's his name? Oh, Fred is a guy that talks about travel, but he does admit when he screws up, okay? Because a good travel writer, okay, you cannot travel without 20% of the things you're doing are sort of screw ups. Why? Because there's no such thing as perfection when you're meeting new cultures. In one culture, I'll never forget the girl in Arequipa, Peru. We went to we'd go to this restaurant and eat dinner, and we'd all watch a movie at the same time. And I walked her home. I was in Arequipa, Peru. And I walked this Peruvian girl home. And then 2 days later, she goes, "Why didn't you come over and see me?" She says, "You know where I live." And I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. In my culture, we cannot just because we know where a girl lives doesn't mean we just get to go knock on their door. But in that culture, if you knew where they lived, you had the right to go knock on their door. Okay, and most cultures, you have the right to go knock on the door of somebody else. It's only in the United States where they've done the opposite. So, what were my biggest mistakes I've made in my life? I think I went up to about age 35, probably 35 years of age before I realized, Andy, it doesn't work to try to train people. You don't try to teach them how to be good workers. They come on day one as a good worker, and they continue as a good worker. And anybody that you have to train, that should only be in a factory situation where you train them for their job, and if they don't do their job right, because it's a very repetitive job. Repetitive jobs are where you train people. Skill set jobs is where they come on day one teaching themselves. Number 2, what I did wrong is I gave a lot of people second chances. You really don't want to give people second or third chances, especially girlfriends or boyfriends. Boyfriends should not give girlfriends second chances. And why shouldn't you do it? They should come on as being the right type of person. They don't need trained to be a good wife or husband. They should be naturally. But don't get me wrong, 2 dysfunctional people are going to like each other. So 2 criminals will be connected. That's what connects 2 people. They're both criminals and they like each other. Number 3, this is one of the biggest failings I had. And I learned this from John Roussel, Roussel Concrete Construction, but I didn't really get it. You have to expect completion every day. And I did not expect everybody to completion. I did this. I had some real problems in my social network and my one worker that worked for me for years because I didn't expect that he finished something every day. But I didn't hire him in that position when I did. I really hired him as just sort of a gopher type person for about the first 15 years. And eventually, when we went into this leadership thing, he could not understand he had to finish what he started. Not expecting daily completion. Number 4, I did not expect manners and personal conscientious behavior. When you have a worker, they have to always be a conscientious worker where they feel guilty if they don't return a phone call. A person that does not feel guilty when they don't return a phone call, an email, or whatever, you ghost them. You get rid of this type of person. They're not a conscientious worker. And that was one of the things, you could expect that with the people that want taken care of, they're not going to return their phone calls. And that's going to be kind of normal. And because the boss has to always instigate things. And this is problematic stuff because when we talk about it, we get people really angry because they don't want to be considered a non-conscientious person. But if I say hello to somebody, I expect a hello back. Number 5, I accept. One of my errors was I accepting when they do something stupid. You got to accept that people do things stupid, but you kind of got to chastise them because that's the only positive, negative reinforcement. And that's kind of a father thing. And when you're an owner of a business, you are a father or a mother. Number 6, I wasn't a prick. There's times when you just have to be totally unreasonable. And you'll see that right now with Donald Trump. He can be extremely unreasonable on situations when he's dealing. He has no problem calling somebody a loser. He has no problem like that Liz Cheney. She's one of the biggest losers on the planet. AOC's one of the biggest losers on the planet. And these people, why do they become leaders? It's because they attract all the losers. And don't get me wrong, that's the majority. Not saying that everybody, when I say they're a loser, I'm saying they're not the leaders, okay? They're not going to be the leader position. They're not self-taken care of. They're always the victim. So if you want to attract the victims, you can get a load of people to follow you. People that want something for nothing. People that come to the United States illegally want something for nothing. One of the errors I made is I tolerated small lies. And one of the biggest things I will not do anymore is I don't allow people to get away with small lies around me. I try to get them to be real crisp and clean on their truth. But people naturally do this, right? Because they don't want to hurt people's feelings. Number 8, what I didn't do is I didn't go for the naturals. I didn't get the natural brainstormers and the natural. There's natural people. I learned this hardcore in coding and stuff like that. There's people that are naturally good at mechanical stuff, like fixing a car. There's people that are naturally engineers. There are people that are naturally coders on computers. And there's people that naturally learn languages. That is not me. Every single word I learn, okay? Oh man, it's a really tough thing to learn a language. But after a while, you get better at the pathways of learning. I should have looked for natural readers. Readers are leaders. Readers are leaders. Okay, so what is my goal in the present day life as an Andy Lee Graham, a 70-year-old man? I'm going to round it up, guys. I'm going to tell you I'm 70 until I'm 75. Okay, or at least until I'm 73, right? Okay, but I'm a 70-year-old man, and what is my goal today? When I do business, I want a partner. I need partners that are good managers because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not a manager, okay? And I try not to ever get into a position where I control a situation. I basically look for number 2, subcontractors, okay? So I'm always trying to find these little compartments and fill in the compartments so I don't have any temptation to micromanage me. When I'm working one-on-one with somebody all day long, it's not a good situation. Okay, that's not the thing I don't want any management situations. I can start my 35 to 100 house addition without ever managing anything. You can hire a construction company to do all the houses. You can hire all these subcontractors to take over their position. That's why general contracting is sort of a very good marketing situation because you have these different compartments. My job is always to think about how do I remove the obstacles to production. My job is to test people for who they are. And everybody's good at something, so you test them. When I say somebody's a loser, though, I will morally, mentally, emotionally, when a person is a loser, I will say that. Okay, and Liz Cheney is a great example of a loser. Okay, AOC, I don't even know her name. Very good example of a loser. Okay, but now we got a more relationship situation. a leader is not codependent. Codependent means that I am dependent on that other person to care about me to make my decision. A codependent person thinks about another person's feelings before they think of their own. And they basically are always trying to make sure to keep the other person happy by saying things. I better hurry up. They're trying to clean my place. But a leader is not independent. That doesn't mean that they are dependent. They got dependent people and interdependent people. Interdependent people is what we want. Codependent people is a negative thing because that means that you are constantly worried about their personal emotional situation before their own. Like these girls are never going to stop working just because I'm sitting here. This is called brute cultures. The whole world is brute, okay? And I'm not, it's their country, I'm a guest, so they get to rule the roost, right? But I'm not independent. I never try to be independent in the sense of, I don't try to be independent in the sense that I'm extremely independent, but I'm not independent. That's not my goal. My goal is to be interdependent all the time with different groups. So when I go in to buy when I buy blueberries here and I buy repollo, cabbage and different things, I try to work with them. But we're interdependent. Okay, so those are the good examples of a leader. And I want you all to be leaders. Buenos dias, señorita.
Hola.
¿Cómo están, Manuela? That's the police lady walking by, and you understand that she has to be real careful as a kind of policeman. I met her the first day I was here, and there's kind of a bunch of interplays that happen between people, but I remembered her name. I don't think she remembers mine, and she's a leader because she's a police person. And it's kind of humorous, right? But you got to know your game you're in. It's a game of life, right? We are in the game of life. And to live, you got to strive to be alive. To live, you got to strive to be alive. Andy Lee Graham. I've lived in 114 countries, and I did that 113. That is my dyslexic problem. I've lived in 114 countries, and I've been doing this for 26 years. And I lived a good life. Why? Because I'm free. I'm not a wage slave. I want you to declare your independence. I want to inspire you to become a free thinker where you are not just following in line. I don't want the third class of people that are taken care of. If you're being taken care of and then you get angry, you've got a problem. You got to remember where your position in life are. Are you trying to be independent, self-aware, self-taking care of yourself? Or are you trying to have the world take care of you? Are you angry at the leaders all the time? That really means that you're not independent. To be mad at a leader is because you expect them to take care of you. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Try to get your position. But I'm really excited about the United States election because it's either the end of the United States or it could be the end of the United States, which is okay with me because all countries are going to end. I remember in, 8th grade, I was sitting there and this teacher was talking about what was going to happen 500 years from now. And he was so proud of his friend that he could think about what the prognostication for the future was. Because a person that only lives in today and cannot prognosticate what the future is. Like, see, an investor is a person, or an entrepreneur is a person that basically bets all their money on the future. I've always been an investor. I've always been self-employed. Well, not always, but almost all of my life until I was, till only about 4 years of my, I've only worked for an employer probably about for a year at a time. Well, I think one time in my life. Yeah. And, And then I worked for some summers when I was in, when I was in university. But I've always been self-employed because I've always been an investor in myself. Be an investor in yourself. Become a free person. Become an independent person. Be interdependent on the world and try to make the world. Become a global citizen. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Andy Lee Graham.